2 Corinthians 5:7 states, "For we walk by faith and not by sight." In the comedy game, you can go from performing in a packed arena one night to a half-filled bar the next. To be a comedian, you have to hustle hard, grind harder, and keep working towards fulfilling your dreams, even when it seems like you're walking alone. Welcome to Inside Jokes, where we explore the comedy journey of comedians as they share their experiences performing in comedy clubs and in everyday life. Today on episode 1, I take a walk with comedian, actress, legend, comedy beast, Miss Christy Miller. Come on, everybody, time to go inside. What's up? Welcome to Inside Jokes, and I'm your host, comedian Aja Bennett. And today we're going to go inside with comedian Christy Miller. Everybody give it up. What's up, girl? So,
congrats on your new show.
Thank you. So this is a show where we basically dive inside the world of comedians and go experience their journeys and hear their stories and get the inside scoop. So today we're here with Christy Miller. She is one of the most phenomenal acts that I know. Definitely a headliner and a closer like you've never seen, and you're gonna find out more about her and then you'll know why. So let's start off with, when did you decide that you wanna do comedy, and where are you from?
Well, I am from San Francisco, California originally.
All right.
You know, growing up we used to call it Sam and Frank's Disco.
Okay.
Okay, Queen.
All right.
Okay. When I was a little kid, I used to listen to like old comedy albums like Richard Pryor, Buddy Hackett, George Carlin, Cheech and Chong. Like my mom and my sister had all those albums, so I would listen to them. And as time went on, like when Showtime came out, and it was a primetime channel, and they would have like comedy specials on there, and then HBO came out a couple years later, and it was all like comedy specials. So I would watch comedy shows after comedy shows, and I remember thinking, just watching people laugh, and feeling them laugh is like the most amazing feeling on the planet. I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Awesome.
And I'm like, but that'll never happen to me.
Okay, so how did you get started? Like, when did you get started?
I moved to Los Angeles in '94, and I was working on a movie called Strange Days with my best friend Kira. We were like action actress, and we got bumped up to SAG, and we were doing light stunt work to buffer the stuntmen, because there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened in that movie.
Wow.
So with Angela Bassett, Julia Lewis, Ray Fiennes, Tom Sizemore, the late Tom Sizemore, rest in peace.
Yes.
Directed by Catherine Bigelow, a diva. She is insane.
Yes, ma'am.
We wrapped the film, and we're at our apartment, and she goes, "If you don't go to the Comedy Store and get on that stage, I'm going to kill you." And I was 24 years old, and I said, "All right, I'll make a deal. If I go there to get a job as a waitress, that means I'm supposed to be in that building and supposed to do stand-up. If I don't get a job as a waitress, then I'm not supposed to be there."
Okay.
So I went in, 30 seconds later, I had the job.
Guess who's
the
waitress?
day manager was a big old queen, and we kikied for like 3 hours. And I was in, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm supposed to be here.
Nice.
And then a week into it, I met Paul Mooney.
Wow.
My first week there, and changed my whole life.
Wow, so how did that go? So once you met Paul Mooney, how was your experience? Like, how did your world change after that?
He opened up doors for me that a normal white female comic wouldn't necessarily get to experience. So I did a lot of black rooms.
Wow.
As well as the Comedy Store and the Improv and the Factory and all that stuff. So I got to really experience different types of crowds and master different types of crowds. So I call it the comedy trifecta. I can play white rooms, black rooms, and gay rooms.
Yes.
And if you can do the trifecta, you're good. I always say that, not like to toot a horn, but I watch a lot of white comics bomb like the Ukraine in black rooms because they pander to them, and I call it white cooning. I'm like, you're tap dancing, you dropped a piece of cotton while you were up there.
Wow.
To relate, stop, just be yourself. And that's why I think it works so well with Mooney, and Mooney gave me that freedom. Homie, be yourself. Just you have a freedom on that stage that they don't like, and they want to lynch you.
Wow.
So but he taught me to have freedom and to really be myself.
Wow.
And it really changed me as a performer and a writer. And it was just, I found parts of myself that I didn't know I had.
Wow. So how long?
Mitzi really nurtured me too.
Oh, Mitzi, right.
Mitzi Shore, the owner of the Comedy Store, the late owner.
The late
great queen.
Great queen. So how long did you work with Paul Mooney, and who else did you work with?
I worked with Paul about 12 years on and off. He's the reason I moved to New York City in 2005.
All right.
And he's like, homie, they love you in New York. Get out of Prejudice LA.
Wow.
Get to New York. So I did, and I would play Caroline's with him. It started off as once a month, and then Caroline and Lewis had us do twice a month. Then it became every week at one point.
Wow.
So it was great, steady work, and but it took me out of the circuit for a long time.
Right.
But I was also really close to a gentleman you may have heard of called Andrew Dice Clay.
Woohoo!
He's this icon.
Legend.
Legend.
Okay.
I got really close to him when I was in Los Angeles, and I did a show or two with him.
Okay.
And I was on his album cover in 2000,
Wow.
Face Down, Ass Up.
Okay.
I arranged that whole album cover.
Ooh, what a face.
And it was me and two porn stars.
Nice.
Midori and Christy Swanson. And Midori, here's a little waste of useless information. She is Jody Watley's sister.
Okay.
And I said, oh, so they call you Jody Twatley? And she died. But so I worked with Dice, and then when I moved to New York, I just kind of cut contact with everybody because I figured no one would want to talk to me because I was depressed.
Wow.
And I just stuck with Mooney. And then it came down to I ran into Dice in Eleanor a few years ago, walking on the street. I was in the diner. I just left Broadway Comedy Club with Teddy Smith, another legend comic.
All right.
We did a show, and then Dice came in to the diner, and we're like, oh my God. And it was like, it'd been like 14 years since we'd seen each other.
Right.
But we picked up right where we left off, because that's the thing about the Comedy Store. It's like you're a bonded family.
Right.
Like once you're a store comic, it's like blood. It's
okay.
like just automatic.
All right.
And we picked up right where we left off. So I did some shows with him in 2019, and then COVID hit, and that set all that back.
Wow.
And then last year, or 2021, he got Bell's palsy, so I did a couple of his palsy shows. They filmed a documentary on him, so when that comes out, you'll see me in that.
Okay.
During the palsy years, and but it was fun. And Dice is such a great,
phenomenal
mentor and such a supportive and loves funny women. Like loves it. If you're funny and you're a woman, he will push you to be who you are.
Nice.
And he's really an amazing human being.
All right. Well, that's like an awesome journey. There's not too many comics that have managed to work with as many legends as you have, from Paul Mooney to Andrew Dice Clay.
I have stories about Richard Pryor.
Oh my gosh, the Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor was playing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays when I first got there to help Mitzi out, because it was the dark days of comedy and a lot of people were going out in the 90s. And Richard was sick. So he'd come in Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays for the 8 o'clock show, and it would sell out in a minute. And then as time went on, Richard got sicker and sicker, and he would have to cancel because he just couldn't do it.
Right.
So Mooney and I decided, because Mooney treated me like his kid.
Right.
I'm like his daughter. And he would take me to Richard's house in Encino, and we'd hang out with him and just keep him company. So he's in bed, he can't move, he's got PMS, and but he had one of the big console TVs in his room, and Mooney would sit on the rocking chair, and I would kiki with Richard and make him laugh. He was watching Mannix, because those old black people love old TV.
Please shut up.
And, and we had the volume on mute, and you remember his secretary was black.
Right.
And back then she had one line, "Coffee, Joe?" And I'm like, if this was now, this bitch would be like, "Motherfucker, can't you see I'm on the phone?
Right.
You're a grown-ass man. You can get your own damn coffee."
Okay.
Bitch, I'm trying to get my kiki on. And Richard's like, screaming, and Mooney's laughing, and there's so much fun. And
wow.
It's just the stories and the experience that I have, because of Mitzi Shore and Paul Mooney.
Right,
Even
legendary.
Dice, these are two icons I grew up listening to.
Wow.
Because I remember Mooney did a thing on Geraldo. Oh, there's a name I'll pick up. Hold on. And that's off that name. Did something about like controversial stuff. I forget what the show was about, but I remember seeing Paul Mooney on there.
Right.
And I remember I was at my mother's house. I hadn't even moved to LA yet.
Okay.
And I remember watching it going, I'm going to know him one day. He's going to be my best friend.
And look how it just
and
all
it
came
just happened. And I told him that story too.
Wow.
He goes, homie, we're connected. You know?
Wow, that's just super awesome. Like, what other things do you do, Christy? Like, when Christy isn't on stage, what do you like to do? Like, what are your hobbies? What are your job? What do you like to do?
What I love to do is I love the gym.
All right.
I'm really into powerlifting. I love being strong. I don't train for aesthetics, because if I did, I'm doing it wrong.
Wow.
And I train to be hard to kill.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm 52 years old, so.
And you don't look a bit past girl.
Don't crack chair.
Come on now, cousin. Say what you gotta say. Okay. Don't play with it. Okay.
So. That's how you can tell a white girl has a lot of black friends.
Yes, ma'am. She knows.
She learned the Queen Helene cocoa butter secrets.
Okay.
Yeah, I just train to be hard to kill, and I love lifting weights. I love it. Like, it's my happy place.
Wow.
I just put my headphones on. I don't like to work out with people, because people aren't usually as strong as I am.
Right.
Or like to work out the way I do. Like, sometimes I go to the gym with Dice.
Okay.
And he goes, go do what you gotta do. I'm over here now.
Okay.
And he's doing his biceps. He's doing bodybuilder shit. I'm all deadlifting, and he goes, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Okay, he'll leave that to you.
Right? I'm like, that's fine, whatever. I go, I'll do what you want to do. It's just easy. And he's like, and he feels so mad. He gets so mad at me.
Oh my goodness.
He goes, you lift that? I'm going to try it. I go, you sure?
Okay, good luck with that. So I have the inside scoop, and I want you to announce the special announcement that we have, and none other than Christy Miller will be sharing.
Oh, that. Yes, on March 24th, my debut comedy album, finally, after 6 months of waiting for it to drop, my new comedy album, Brutally Yours, will be out on all streaming.
Yes.
iTunes,
yes, queen.
Me tunes, you tunes.
Okay, we tunes.
Whatever pronoun tunes you
However you
want
identify tunes.
On Spotify, Airware.
Ooh.
I recorded it back in September at the comic strip.
Awesome.
And I was getting so frustrated with the record company, because I'm like, why is this taking so long to drop? Like, this should be 2 to 3 weeks tops. Boom, out. And what had happened was Sirius was revamping all their comedy channels and how they acquire comedy albums, and Spotify was being all weird. So I think the record company was trying to hold back releasing it until they got all that settled, because now SiriusXM doesn't allow comedy albums. They won't buy a comedy album unless it's attached to a record label.
Okay.
They don't just do independent anymore. They used to. Now they don't bother with that anymore. And they changed how they want their tracks cut. So the record company held my album back just until that was settled, so they knew what they wanted. So if we released it and it wasn't the format they wanted, or the track minutes they wanted, or whatever, they would have just dropped it and never got airtime.
But it'll be out.
But it'll be out March 24th.
Okay.
And I'm very excited.
Woo! Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so anywhere you buy your music or bootleg, whatever the fuck, I don't care. Just play my shit, okay? Just pop me famous.
All right, so I want everyone to go out there. Please support Christy Miller. You had the inside scoop with her on Inside Jokes. She's out here grinding. You can see her daily. Catch her on Instagram. You can catch her on Facebook. And we'll share all the information and details below.
You can follow me everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's Christy Miller Comedy. And if you don't like me, I've been Kathy Griffin.
All right, Christy Miller, thank you so much for joining us on Inside Jokes. You're welcome. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing much success for you. Please support her. Please support comedy. We thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for Inside Jokes. Let's go, cousin. All right, let's go. Thanks so much. Tune in, subscribe.
You don't know where your comedy journey will end, but you know where it starts, from the inside. Thanks for tuning in to Inside Jokes. Please hit that subscribe button, like, or comment. Until next time, grace and peace.